It is officially on between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, or at least it's official that Donald Trump is going directly after DeSantis. No more subtle passing insults or nicknames. Trump is directly insulting one of the most popular Republicans in America. The man who just won re-election in Florida by 20 points. This time, no ambiguity. It came as an official statement where the former president went scorched earth about the media coverage of DeSantis from Rupert Murdoch-owned News Corp, the parent company of Fox News, among others. The statement released tonight says, quote, News Corp, which is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, and the no longer great New York Post, is all in for Governor Ron DeSanctimonious, an average Republican governor with great public relations who didn't have to close up his state but did, unlike other Republican governors, whose overall numbers for a Republican were just average, middle of the pack, including COVID, and who has the advantage of sunshine, where people from badly run states up north would go no matter who the governor was, just like I did. Wow. Donald Trump is calling Ron DeSantis, among other things, an average Republican governor. He went on to call DeSantis desperate in 2017, claimed he fixed his campaign, which had completely fallen apart, and then in a totally bizarre and unsupported assertion, claims DeSantis' 2018 governor's race was being stolen based on voter fraud, and, quote, I sent in the FBI and U.S. attorneys and the ballot theft immediately ended. And now he says, quote, Ron DeSanctimonious is playing games. Clearly, Trump is furious by what he sees as glowing coverage of DeSantis' landslide victory over Charlie Crist in his run for re-election, which many on Fox and elsewhere have presented as moving DeSantis to the GOP frontrunner in 2024. That is also, in part, because so many Trump-backed candidates did poorly in the midterms. And there is no doubt that the coverage has not been good for Trump, who had hinted that he would announce he's running for president next week. The New York Post cover yesterday, following the midterm results, featured the DeSantis family with a big "DeFuture" headline. Today's cover features Trump as Humpty Dumpty, with copy that reads, Don, who couldn't build a wall, had a great fall. Can all the GOP's men put the party back together again? The Wall Street Journal editorial board, famously conservative and has supported Trump in the past, called him, quote, the biggest loser, and added, quote, what will Democrats do when Donald Trump isn't around to lose elections? The editorial board asked after noting Trump has now flopped in 2018, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And Fox News, which of course has an outsized influence on Republican politics, has mostly avoided criticizing Trump. But in the past few days, featured a stunning amount of anti-Trump rhetoric.
If the voters conclude that you're putting your own ego or your own grudges ahead of what's good for the country, they're going to look elsewhere, period.
I don't think Republicans want to hear infighting between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. And right now, Donald Trump keeps taking shots at Ron DeSantis. That is not going to play well.
If people are making the choice right now between Ron DeSantis and the former president, they're going with the Florida governor.
Please, Mr. President, don't run again.
There had been other reports that Trump was fuming and absolutely livid at the coverage of the midterm results. Now, this statement tonight would certainly appear to back that up. So, is this an effort by Trump to scare DeSantis? Is he just lashing out? And how will Republicans take this biting attack on a party favorite like DeSantis? Joining me now is longtime conservative and podcaster John Ziegler and former Republican congressman turned radio host and Trump critic Joe Walsh. Gentlemen, thanks very much for coming on the show. John Ziegler, this seems like a really big deal to me.
It is. For one thing, Dan, I've suspected we were living in a simulation for the last 6 or 7 years. I think the Trump statement pretty much clinches that. Yes, this is all a simulation. This is not real life. But from a political standpoint, yes, this is a huge story because this is going to be the biggest fight in the history of the Republican Party. And as a longtime anti-Trump, never Trump conservative to the very end for the last 7 years, I am very much looking forward to this fight because this is a monster that needed to be killed a long time ago. And I know there's some people that are going to say, well, wait a minute, Trump still controls the Republican Party. He still has the cult. Yes, but Dan, that cult is shrinking. Let me give you an example. I just got a text from a well-known political consultant who speaks to Trump regularly, a huge Trump fan, who texted me in reaction to the Trump statement about DeSantis, Trump, what the hell? Ugh, and then gave me permission to talk about it on your show. I'm telling you, if this cult is falling apart as we speak because he picked the wrong fight with the wrong guy at the wrong time.
And Joe Walsh, the other side of this, which I think you take, is that in the end, that what, DeSantis is going to end up campaigning for Trump?
Well, yeah, and I respect my friend John Ziegler, and he's been incredibly consistent over these last 7 years. But come on, there's no fight right now. This is Trump.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.